Good evening. I'd like to call this meeting in order. Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay, we're going to start with a roll call.
Council President.
It's not working.
Council President Alberton.
Here.
Councilmember Rivera.
Here.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
Here.
Councilmember McIrvin.
Here.
Councilmember Prince.
Here.
Councilmember Perez.
Here.
Councilmember Vaughn. Roll call, Mr. Mayor, one absent.
Yes, Council President Albertson.
Move to approve the absent council members absent,
Second.
or excuse the absent council member, I should say.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Albertson, second by Councilmember Perez to excuse the absent council member. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. And we're starting off the year with a full house tonight. And first thing on the agenda is the administrative report.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year and welcome back. Information about preventative street maintenance, traffic impact projects, and road closures happening this week can be found at rentonwa.gov/traffic. All projects are weather permitting, and unless otherwise noted, streets will always remain open.
That was quick. All right. Thank you. Next thing up is audience comment. We've got a number of people signed up to speak tonight. I want to remind everybody that all remarks must be addressed to the council as a whole. If a response is requested, please provide your information. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes. When recognized, please step up to the podium, state your name and city of residence for the record. And first up is Everett Binmoon Chun.
Hi, my name is Everett Chun. I live in Renton, just by the public library. So I think the first of two things I wanted to talk about was 110 Pelly Avenue. I own the house right next door to it. The person who owned it before, he overdosed on fentanyl July 17th. And then since then, his dad has been taking care of it. But they've had a lot of code violations. They're living out of the garage. They have extension cords running to the garage and to the RV. And Sergeant Morgan used to be taking care of the place, the point person. But so I think what I'm asking is representation from either someone here or the police officer, someone we can talk to, a point person. We have a Facebook thread of about 30 people, and then we have a lot of ideas, but we have nobody to to send them to, or so that's about. I'll just stop there for that.
Okay. So we actually have an officer in the back, Officer Chandler. He'll be more than happy to assist you once you're through with your comments.
Have more time, or?
Yeah.
The second thing I saw, a lot of people were talking about 6th Park, but I think something needs to be done about that as well.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Next up is Angela Lulayan.
Hi, my name is Angela Laulainen. I live in Renton. I'm commenting today to echo the concerns of my neighbors about the property at 6th Park. It is dangerous and unsafe. As you know, or you should know, there's a neighborhood between the landing and the downtown known as North Renton neighborhood. Neighbors from North Renton have been asking for this property to be cleaned up for the last 2 years, but no action has really been taken. In the last year especially, it has been more destroyed, with windows on all sides broken out and large graffiti tags visible from blocks away. When I drive by with out-of-town guests, they say it looks like the apocalypse or a scene from some zombie movie. I don't understand how City Council has not addressed this problem, has not taken definitive action when neighbors have asked so many times. It's very frustrating that so many have asked for help with this issue, but there is such a lack of support to address the problem. It's a recurring theme. We are also left in the dust when neighbors time and time again have asked for the city to help with eminent domain issues. City Council could lead the conversation about options for saving homes especially in the case of the Renton High School plan, but you show no interest in helping longtime citizens who have invested in the city. The school board also shows no interest in helping citizens. They have not considered any options offered by residents and have not shown any compassion for the Renton residents they are displacing. They simply sit and wait for the residents to stop fighting. Like them, the city council is not showing support for its citizens. Again, it's frustrating to be ignored when coming to our elected officials for help with neighborhood issues.
All right, thank you. Okay, next up is P. Michael Laboslo. Yeah, that one's.
Good evening, I'm P. Michael Laboslo. I reside on 107 North in Renton. Wife and my 4-year-old daughter. Our family has resided in Renton for 16 years. I'm here tonight to talk with you and my neighbors about the blighted, abandoned buildings located on the block of North 6th and Park Avenue, 1/2 mile from our residence. And I am needing to understand our city's plan with a clear timeline and accountability plan for immediate security of those properties, and then addressing the building's condition, whether through repair, redevelopment, or demolition. It is imperative that when we leave this evening, we have your understanding and your commitment to address the situation with a clear, comprehensive plan that is executed with urgency. I'm not going to speak to the long, specific lists of reasons we need immediate action, because in the approximate 2 years since the properties were essentially abandoned, they have become notorious in the region and even the nation. In summary, the abandoned properties at 6th and Park present risks to our community. They become increasingly unsound structurally. The detritus which pours out onto the streets, into the air, and floods the parking garage is a safety and health hazard both to the residents of Renton and the emergency response personnel. The danger, vandalism, and property crime emanating from 6th and Park impacts our Renton businesses, our property owners, and our residents. The list is long, my friends. But most importantly to me are the health and safety risks the ongoing situation at 6th and Park presents to my child and the children and families enrolled at Satori Elementary School. All of the bad, all, is happening radiating less than 1/2 mile down the street from Satori. And if you don't know, Garden Avenue North is the preferred route in and out by the bad actors going to 6th and Park. Thank you for this opportunity to discuss our concern this evening, and we look forward to helping you help us with developing and executing an immediate plan to secure and permanently mitigate the health, safety, and crime issues at the properties of 6th and Park. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up is Mark Widmer.
Good evening. My name is Mark Widmer, a resident of Renton. I've been a resident for 20 plus years. And there really isn't much, I think, that I can add to what you've already heard and what you're going to hear. The thing is a monster. It's sitting there, just a toxic waste dump. I've dubbed it the fentanyl frat house. And it just spews out crime. It's the center of drug activity, and it's nothing to be proud of. It's an embarrassment to the city. The nation knows about it. I've heard that tourists come and look at it. And this is not exactly the Grand Canyon we're talking about. This is an awful, awful situation, which can be remedied if we step up, grow a pair, and fix it. And I'm not sure what that entails. I mean, I know there's legislation. I know there's issues with safety, with toxicity and all of that. But we can't just let it sit there. It's been sitting long enough. There's kids, like they said, kids involved. There's public health. There's safety. We've got firemen, police officers. We have to respect their safety, their health, their concerns. And it's incumbent upon us to work as a group, to take care of the situation, to make Renton proud of every area of its city, not just the nice areas. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next is Ellie Robershaw.
I believe she's virtual, sir.
Oh, okay.
Judith, is she online?
Sorry about that. Yes. Ellie, go ahead.
Oh, thanks. Hello. My name is Ellie Robertshaw, and I am a Renton resident. The city of Renton has calculated its 2025 minimum wage as $20.90, adjusted from $20.29 in 2024. However, Tukwila, which had the same 2024 wage and uses identical cost of living adjustment criteria, calculated its 2025 wage as $21.10. The result is that Tukwila increased their minimum wage by 4% this year, whereas Renton only increased their minimum wage rate by 3%. It is critically important that the city of Renton get the correct 2025 minimum wage rate of $21.10 in full compliance with city law and the will of the voters who voted directly for this law in 2024. This is for 3 reasons. First, and most importantly, because the city is required by law to do this. Second, it's still very much a time of uncertainty for working families, and it's unfair to nickel and dime our lowest paid workers in this way. It's just not fair to them. And third, because Renton shouldn't risk gaining a reputation for governance or an apparent disregard for the rule of law. Please correct this as soon as possible. Give Renton workers the correct minimum wage by law. Thank you, Mayor and City Council.
All right, thank you. Next up is Cheryl Freeze.
Cheryl Freeze, resident of Wells Avenue North and past president of the North Renton Neighborhood Association and now board member. I wrote a really long, I know I only have 3 minutes and I timed it. I'm going to not read this whole thing, and instead what I'm going to say is something that's been on my mind for a while. And that is something I have donned, welcome to Renton. And I say that facetiously because I really want to explain what my almost 3 years next month have been like here, and words that I chose to use. And I'm actually really sad about this. I've used words like exhausted, disappointed, sad, disillusioned, frustrated, and just really dumbfounded by city council and what I really feel like is a lack of care and respect for the residents. And I've heard words today like lack of compassion. I've heard that, you know, we have a tour stop in Renton that nobody wants as a tour stop. And I did a whole list of bullet points on things that I have actually had to live with and continue to live with on Wells. And I know you all have heard me beat this one into the ground, so I'm not going to, but that is 321 Wells. We ended up with a V2 of that, which is the house next door. We've engaged police multiple times. I'm saddened by the fact that the gang task force had to be re-implemented. I'm really sad by how many times our street has had to call police. I've never in my entire life until moving here seen stabbings, gunshots, a murder, had to deal with the violence and the crime and the drugs. And I really feel like as an association, we did everything in our power to engage you all on Logan 6 and engage also on Renton High School. And then now here we are again taking up another battle, which is the park building. And it just feels like you are not hearing us. And I went onto the website and it literally says the duties and responsibilities of the 7-member city council is to adopt and enforce ordinances relating to local or municipal affairs. And you are supposed to be dedicated to representing all of Renton's residents. And I have heard so far from everybody here that that's not what we feel like. And we don't want to fight with you. We want to actually create a partnership. We want to figure out how to work together, but you have to come across from behind those desks and engage us and put us on task forces and get us involved in getting some of this cleaned up, because we don't want to be here. It is just insanely frustrating. And if I didn't have a daughter and grandson here and I hadn't chosen to move out of Seattle to be close to them, I would have been gone in a heartbeat. And on that note, what I want to say is there are so many people here from the North Renton Neighborhood Association that I'm incredibly fond of and appreciate, and I appreciate all the work that they've done, and we really want you guys to step across the line and come join us and get some of this taken care of. Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, council members. Happy New Year. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this evening. I'd like to bring to your attention what appears to be a minor but significant oversight regarding the upcoming wage increase for the city of Renton. As I have emphasized in previous statements to the council, ensuring workers receive their rightful wage and clearly communicating how this legislation impacts their lives is essential, particularly in these challenging times of economic uncertainty for working families. However, we've noticed a discrepancy in the calculation for the 2025 minimum wage. The city has indicated a 3% wage increase, but the correct adjustment should be 4%, which aligns with determinations made by the city of Seattle and the city of Tukwila, which is under the same legislation. While the differences might seem marginal, just 1% or approximately 20 cents per hour, it can have a meaningful impact on the lives of the workers struggling to make ends meet. Moreover, this discrepancy could expose the city and local businesses to unnecessary legal challenges and a scenario that benefits no one. I respectfully urge the mayor and his administration to address this error promptly and ensure that the correction is clearly communicated to all workers and businesses in Renton. By doing so, we guarantee workers receive what they are rightfully owed, while also sparing business from potential liabilities such as back pay, penalties, and other fees. This proactive approach would allow employers to focus on their day-to-day operations and maintain stability. As a strong advocate for the well-being of the workers in the region, we are ready to assist in any way we can in the city and in resolving this matter and ensuring the fair implementation of the wage legislation for years to come. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next up is Ben Johnson.
Council, Mayor, and more importantly, the city attorney. Happy New Year. You can sense the frustration in the audience about what needs to happen in our little blighted Mad Max Thunderdome hellhole in North Renton. And looking over the RCW's enabling legislation for cities to be able to address blighted properties, unfortunately, I understand your hands are sort of tied. There's a very laborious, slow process that is fraught with potential, court costs and litigation. And so, you've been in executive sessions. I would say the majority of you do not want this sort of lawless drama in our city. The city staff doesn't want it. The mayor doesn't want it. So I'm going to assume great intent by all of you. And so I want to move away from the RCW that enables you to get stuff done into a parallel legal theory that Issaquah and Bellevue and other cities from the Municipal Research and Service Center have sort of thought about, which is basically attractive nuisance doctrine, which is when small children go into a sort of a situation that they're unaware of the dangers and they get injured or die. The Supreme Court here in Washington has basically 5 criteria, and I'm absolutely certain that that property meets the criteria. It's dangerous in it itself. It's attractive and alluring to children, and I know that because perhaps my children have been in there. The children must have been incapable by reason of their youth of comprehending the danger involved. My kids were smart enough to stay from the elevators, but the fentanyl and crack pipes, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they didn't do anything. But the conditions are left unguarded and exposed to a place where children of tender years are accustomed to report. We know that's happening. My children's friends have been there. And it must have been reasonably practical and feasible either to prevent access to the instrumentality or condition to render it innocuous, basically fencing. So in a civil doctrine, this is a civil doctrine, it's basically the standard is, or the sort of the example is an unfenced pool where a child drowns. So we're in that situation. Now, Issaquah had a trouble in the 70s with kids falling in the mines. Bellevue had trouble back in the 80s of unsecured vaults. And basically, the legislation in both of those municipalities is basically the city gets to fix the situation, either fencing and send the bill to the landowner or the occupier. And in Issaquah's example, the official may direct summary abatement at the full expense of the owner or occupier of the land. So that's immediate. That's not through a process of courts and all this stuff. That's an immediate fix. So I'm going to send you details about this via email for your consideration. But I think this is a much better model to look at because it allows cities and municipalities to kind of get it fixed, at least the danger to children. So thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. And next up is Patrick Dickinson.
Hello, I'm Patrick Dickinson. I live in the Highlands, and I've been here 2 other times to talk about the city's water fluoridation program, and I'd like to have it stopped. Number one, I've given all of you some more information and current information. Fluoride's ineffectiveness. The largest, most recent, highly qualified scientific studies on word fluoridation effectiveness have shown no significant reduction of cavities. And there are already a consensus in the CDC that fluoride's effectiveness in preventing cavities is mainly topical, not swallowed. Okay? Now, fluoride's neurotoxicity. Okay? There is no question that fluoride is neurotoxic. It damages the brain, is documented by hundreds of recent human and animal studies. It cannot be declared safe. It might be in our water naturally, it might be in the soil naturally, but there's no reason for us to add to it. Let's not make our water more dangerous to our community. This goes all the way back to 2008. There's all kinds of studies talking about the same thing. One of the latest, 2019, another NIH-funded study in Canada found that babies fed formula mixed with fluoridated water averaged 6 IQ points less than those with non-fluoridated water. Losses of nonverbal IQ were given more serious, an average of 13 points less. Just recently, December 2024, a federal judge, I believe in Northern California, declares fluoride in drinking water an unreasonable risk and cites respond by demanding immediate action of the EPA, NIH, etc. The NIH's National Toxicity Program, NTP, was charged with analyzing the large volume of studies in fluoride neurotoxicity. Shortly after the advocacy study sued the EPA in a bid to force it to remove fluoride from the drinking water, knowing that a report from NTP was forthcoming. The U.S. District Court Judge Chen stayed with the case until the report's released. Little did he know how long it would take to have to wait. They're trying to hide this report, and they tried to for a long time, 2 years. Not only did it take the NTP 6 years to complete the report, when it was ready to be published, in May 22, officials at CDC and HHS delayed their duty to the American people by trying to suppress the report. It took a court order to get from the judge to get this out. And in the end, it poses an unreasonable risk of reduced IQ in children. Now,
I need you to wrap up your
yes,
comments.
just to wrap up, there's many people oppose the fluoridation. I've given you all copies of this. So if you'll please peruse it and do what you can in the near future to take this fluoride out of our water. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, next up is Cheryl Jackson.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here. I'm coming here as Cheryl Jackson Williams, of course, but I hold a couple of roles that I want to clarify for you. One is that I am a Skyway resident, and also I have the honor of hosting our young leaders and community leaders within the Skyway area, city of Renton, as well as Tukwila, in planning our Skyway Juneteenth celebration and festival. And so with that, I'm here to speak to you today about the city of Renton and your Juneteenth celebration, as I want to give flowers to Dr. Linda Smith, that it was because of her sponsoring and leading the efforts at the city of Renton that we were so inspired in Skyway and surrounding areas to host our Juneteenth events. She was doing this at a time, as our young people say, when it wasn't that sexy. It wasn't a national holiday, but it was important because Juneteenth is as important as apple pie is to the American fabric of who we are. It celebrates us and our freedom, understanding liberty, understanding resilience, and how we strive for that. And regardless of who we are and who we show ourselves to be, all of us enjoy our American freedoms. And so it's with that in mind, and I understand that I'm not supposed to call out names, so I'm going to give you the representative districts or representative areas or communities that have asked me to come and talk with you. So it was young leaders and community members, of course, from Skyway, the annexed area that the city of Renton is responsible for, Benson Hill, Cascade, Fairwood, Kennydale, Highlands, and downtown Renton, that asked me to come and have a conversation with you today. Asked me to come and have a conversation to note how important Juneteenth is to community members, and asking you to reconsider your particular decision. One is that they were under the impression that it could be ill-informed, as there were concerns around the date. To appreciate the Juneteenth, understand that community has asked for all of us that are having Juneteenth events to ensure that we do not have conflicting days. As a result, we have days that are set so that up and down the corridor from Upper Rainier Beach to the Renton, the city of Renton, our community members can enjoy celebrating Juneteenth without worrying about conflict. So that was done by design. That was also community informed. Also, it appears that if not by ill information, that this is desperate in its outcome, given the fact that there were a lot of other celebrations that were afforded support by the city of Renton, yet Juneteenth was not. And so for us, we're asking for you to reconsider that. For you to think about the community, because as noted, I've given you the community that I'm representing in this conversation today. That totals 572 people who called me, approached me in grocery outlet, approached me at the library, sent me emails requesting that I come on their behalf to have a conversation, as they thought that it might be a mistake, and that there's still an opportunity for you to correct that challenge. And so again, I come before you today requesting that you realign your efforts with what you support, with what community has asked for. They want a Juneteenth celebration to happen in the city of Renton. It was the city of Renton that started this particular inspirational piece. And we want you to continue being the leader in that. You have a great soldier in Dr. Linda Smith. Don't let her down and don't let us down. Please do what's right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next up is Dr. Smith.
Good evening. Linda Smith, pastor and community advocate. Greetings to the mayor and to the city council. First of all, let me say that I'm disappointed in the thought of the council decision to withhold funds in support of the Juneteenth 2025 for us to change our date. Certainly, you can do whatever you wish with our tax dollars. But as we've heard, Juneteenth is about honoring the legacy of our enslaved Black ancestors who gave their lives for the freedom, the justice, and liberation and betterment of the land. Juneteenth in Renton was started before it was an official holiday in collaboration with the Renton Police Department in terms of uniting the community. Over the years, it has evolved into an amazing partnership of people coming together to make it happen, honoring the Black community. We have always considered the impact of the population we serve. We learned from the first couple of events that we had to consider the many events competing Juneteenth, such as Black Fathers event, graduation, Skyway, schools, Renton schools, and we are, because we're competing for the same crowd. It wasn't a fancy decision, but a community decision, as you've heard, so that we could have the most impact and to celebrate our entire community. No other group have to be in competition with any group. Why do the Black community have to always be dictated to? We expect support from our council, not dictatorial mandates. Let it be known whether you support us or not, we will be doing our Juneteenth celebration. My second issue tonight is safety. As president of Union 550, I've lived in my neighborhood since 1986 and have always felt safe for the most part. On December 16th, a group apparently came through and shot up the place. My place had the most severe damage. The neighbors and several cars. I'm glad I was out of town. This is the second incident in our neighborhood in the past 2 years, and at least 4 or 5 residents have received damage in their homes and in their cars. We are blessed that no one received physical harm, but it is a hot spot coming around from off of Union, around by that Safeway store where fentanyl and all kinds of activity are taking place. Northeast 5th Street, which is the street which I live on, is a pathway through, and those committing crimes and violence tends to turn their way there. So I will not, I'm afraid to sleep in my bedroom. I've not slept in my bedroom since I returned home. I've spoken to the police chief, and he's considering, he's going to set up some meeting. But the council needs to know that our communities are not safe. This just doesn't feel good. It's cost me nearly $6,000. I've had to replace my entire garage door because it was shot up. My bedroom windows were shot, and it was shot in the exact place where I lay my head. So I am so glad I was not at home. I had to replace that entire door. My neighbor, garage door was shot up, and her daughters normally do their exercise in there. So it doesn't feel safe there anymore. And so I just want for the council to be aware that our neighborhoods are really suffering for crime. So thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Lori Madsen. It's nice to see you, Mayor. I ran into you at the Battle of the Badges. Yes, I don't know anybody on the city council now. It's been probably 18 years since I've showed up here. I'm the fireworks lady. If anyone was here in 2005, I'm the lady that showed up twice a year for 15 years to get the fireworks ban. I worked with the fire department. I don't have anything prepared. I just read something in the Renton Crime and Safety page on Facebook last night, I think it was, and talking about the building. I don't live down here, but I work down here. I work for Boeing, and I work in the 1020 building, which is kind of kitty corner. And I used to work in that building. We call it the 1016 building. And I always wondered what it looked like inside. And someone, I don't know who, it says anonymous member, there are pictures of what it looks like inside the building. And I know everybody has nicknames for it. I call it the Lord of the Flies building. I like the Mad Max one. That's even better. But I have a little more inside information because I work at Boeing and I know the security manager for the Renton division. And I know the owner told people that it's in the process of being demolished. But that was after the fire happened. And when did that happen? Like 8 months ago? Oh, the first, okay. Well, whatever big one it was. So I'm not sure how you guys can keep the owner accountable for what's happening there. I'm surprised no one has died in there because according to this, kids, it's like I remember Western State because I'm from Tacoma. We used to go as teenagers, like, ooh, scary Western State. Kids are doing that now at this building. And we're talking about open elevator shafts. I think it's a 7, 8 story building. 7, okay. Scary. So, and you guys are talking about this tonight? The building?
Yeah, this.
No, I mean, not us, but you. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Dustin Strode? No? Okay. Then last up is Diane Dobson.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Diane Dobson, resident of Renton, and I come to you tonight not as a business leader, not as a representative of any organization, but as a mother, a role that is rooted in love, care, and responsibility for others. Leadership is a privilege, but it's also a profound responsibility. It's not about ego, it's not about winning arguments, and it's certainly not about personal vendettas. It's about service to every person, every neighborhood, and every business in this city. Yet here we are, neighbor after neighbor has come forward expressing disappointment at not being heard, being ignored, and watching critical concerns brought forward by residents for over 2 years fail to make it onto a single public safety agenda. I've seen personal grudges overshadow your duty to serve this community. Time and time, energy have been wasted on petty conflicts and personal attacks while real issues, public safety, economic challenges, and families in need are neglected. This isn't just disappointing, it's a dereliction of duty. The consequences are real. Businesses are suffering, residents feel abandoned, and trust in leadership is eroding. An entire community, residential and commercial, is being held hostage by personal vendettas. If my child ignored their responsibilities because of a personal grudge, I would ask them one simple question: is this who you want to be? So tonight I ask each of you, is this who you want to be? Is this the legacy that you want to leave? The people of Renton deserve better. Leadership isn't about being right, it's about doing right. It's time to set aside your personal conflicts, refocus on your responsibilities, and remember why you were elected in the first place, to serve this community, the entire community, and not your ego. Thank you very much.
All right, that's the end of public comment. And I will make just a really brief statement about the property at 6th and Park. We will be having a meeting with council afterwards in executive session discussing that property. It's something that staff has been working on for months. It's an issue that's at the top of our list of things that need to be dealt with and addressed. And nothing's been taken off the table. We're looking at all avenues to remedy this. So we hear you loud and clear. We know it's a problem. I drive by it just like everybody else does, and it's not something that we can accept. And we are and we will be taking action to make sure that the property is taken care of. Unfortunately, it just takes time, and that's the unfortunate truth about situations like this. So. All right, with that, I'm going to move on to the consent agenda. There are 5 items for council consideration. Are there any that council would like to pull for separate discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Council President.
move to approve the consent agenda as published.
Second. Okay, it's been moved by Council President Albertson, second by Councilmember Perez, that the council approve the consent agenda as published. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. We're on to unfinished business. Council President Albertson.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Rivera. Councilmember O'Halloran.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember McGurven.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Transportation Committee has 1 report to present.
Transportation Aviation Committee report, 120-day closure of Hauser Way North. The Transportation Aviation Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to adopt a resolution authorizing the 120-day closure to occur between January 21st, 2025 and May 22nd, 2025 for the purpose of installing a water main and improving storm drainage facilities supporting the I-405 Renton to Bellevue widening and express toll lane project. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor. Yes, as the report said, this is necessary for the washed out widening project, and it's a very, very, very small portion of Hauser Way, right kind of behind Lowe's near Kula Park. And the goal is to get this done before by May 22nd so that there will be less impacts on the park as boating season kind of kicks in. With that, I'll move approval of the report as presented.
Second. Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember McGurven, second by Councilmember Perez, that the council concur with the Transportation and Aviation Committee report. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. Councilmember Prince.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Perez.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
All right, then we're on to legislation. We have 1 resolution for adoption.
This resolution is regarding the Hauser Way North closure. Resolution of the City of Renton, Washington authorizing temporary full street closure of Hauser Way North between Lake Washington Boulevard North and Lowe's Business Access Road.
Mr. Mayor. I move the resolution be adopted as read.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember McGurven, second by Councilmember Perez, that the resolution be adopted as read. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, motion carries. Now we're on to new business. Council President Albertson.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, on Monday, January 13th, the committee of the whole meeting has been canceled for that day. And then at 7 p.m. on Monday, January 13th, we will have the regular city council meeting here in council chambers and via video conference. And that is all, Mr. Mayor.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Member O'Halloran.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Yes, Mr. Mayor. Monday, January 13th at 4 p.m. The Community Services Committee will be meeting here in the council conference room and via video conference. We have 1 item on the agenda, and that's emerging issues in Parks and Rec.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember McGurven.
No new business, Mr. Mayor, but just want to really briefly acknowledge everyone who came out tonight for comment. You are heard. We do take you seriously, and I want to thank you for coming out and sharing your concerns. I hope we can get to work on some of those that have been brought up here in short order. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Prince.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. On Monday, January 13th, at 6 p.m., the Planning and Development Committee will be meeting in the council conference room and by video conference. We have 3 items on the agenda. Long-range planning staff introductions, middle housing / ADU update, and emerging issues in CED. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My microphone is not working very well, but I hope that all of you can hear. First of all, I want to thank all of you for being here, for advocating, and for expressing your concerns. On a personal note, I am as frustrating as you are. As the mayor said, the process is longer than we would like to be, but I assure you that we have been working very hard on fixing this situation. I wish due to the legal process, this could be faster, but I'm hearing you, Mr. Johnson, and I'm looking forward to research more about the solution that you're bringing and the suggestions that you have presented. With that, Mr. Mayor, I would like to announce that on Monday, January 13, 2024, at 4:45 p.m., the Finance Committee will be meeting at the Council Conference Room, as well as via video conference. There are 8 items on the agenda. Number 1, Interagency Agreement 2025, so grants 5889, Region 7A Law Enforcement Liaison. Second, King County Corridor HB IAFFY 2025. Welcome to the Finance Committee items. 3, Edward Barney FY 2024 Justice Assistant Grant. 4, authorizing agreement with the Puget Sound Regional Council for the Renton Comprehensive Safety Action Plan. 5, amendment number 1, GCB 2433, WASDOT Project Coordination Agreement. 6, bid award Talbot Hill Reservoir Park Improvement Construction. 7, vouchers, and 8, emerging issues in finance. That's it.
All right, thank you. What's the wish of the council?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Council President Albertson.
I move that the council recess into executive session for approximately 30 minutes to discuss potential litigation pursuant to RCW 42.30.110.I, with no official action to be taken, and that the council meeting be adjourned when the executive session is adjourned.
How long did you say?
30 minutes.
20.
Second. Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Albertson, second by Councilmember Perez, that the council will adjourn to executive session for approximately 30 minutes to discuss legislation, and there'll be no action taken. We will be adjourned directly after executive session. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. All right, we're in executive session.